Welcome to This Explainer. This guide is grounded in the coaching framework of How to Overcome Betrayal LLC. Today, we're diving straight into a dynamic that honestly leaves so many people feeling completely exhausted. We're going to look closely at why safer talking is just so incredibly difficult after relationship trauma. So if you're trying to navigate the messy aftermath of broken trust, you're in the right place. This is a steady, practical look at exactly how to interrupt that brutal cycle of conflict.
Let's start by validating that deep exhaustion you're feeling right now. You're likely stuck in this loop of cyclical arguments, and it's exactly where so many couples get trapped. Yes, the initial betrayal is absolutely devastating, but the ongoing daily problem? It's the fact that every single attempt to discuss what happened just turns into a brand new fight.
Which brings us to part one, conversations turning to fights and the collision of pain and protection.
To actually interrupt this conflict loop, we really have to recognize the mechanics of what's happening in the room. Let's look at the injured partner first. The injured partner desperately needs emotional safety, clarity, and reassurance. They're often asking questions, bringing up details, or maybe returning to the exact same topics again and again because they need some footing. They're looking for clarity, not because they want to punish you. They just need to know what's real so they can finally feel safe again.
On the flip side, let's look at the partner who caused the harm. This partner frequently feels immense shame, intense pressure, or just complete emotional overwhelm the second these conversations begin. And you know what that overwhelm does? It triggers a very rapid, highly protective, defensive response. They might feel like they're constantly under attack, which naturally leads them to justify, explain, or just shut down entirely.
And here is where the collision happens. When the heavy grief and the desperate need for clarity from the injured partner slams into the tension and defensiveness of the partner who caused harm, well, emotional safety just plummets. It's like they're speaking two completely different languages. One is desperately seeking a lifeline, while the other is throwing up a massive shield.
This leads us directly into part two, the second wound, and how defensiveness blocks repair.
Let me slow this down for a second, because this collision we just talked about, it isn't just a standard argument. It actually creates an entirely new layer of pain that we call the second wound. The second wound is that additional relational trauma created when a partner's defensiveness completely blocks emotional safety and understanding. When the injured partner expresses their pain and is just met with a brick wall of defensiveness, it reinforces that terrifying feeling of abandonment. Defensiveness literally makes repair significantly harder, inflicting a brand new wound exactly when healing is needed the most.
Here's the truth. Emotional safety must come before deeper repair. You simply cannot fix the relationship while actively causing new harm. You don't need more fighting right now. You need safer talking. Creating that solid baseline of emotional safety is the absolute prerequisite to saving the relationship and eventually moving toward forward confidence.
Let's move to part three, rules for safer talking and structuring the path to connection.
So, how do you actually stop the bleeding? To interrupt these really negative interaction patterns, you can't just rely on instinct. Why? Because your instincts are the very things driving the conflict loop right now. You need clear, unbreakable rules. First, stay on one issue at a time. Do not let the argument bleed into everything that has ever gone wrong in the past 10 years. Second, pause defensiveness early. Next, absolutely no but-you responses. None. And crucially, prioritize ownership before explanation. Adhering to these firm boundaries really helps separate the actual facts from those internal emotional spirals.
Which brings us to part four, ownership before explanation, and acknowledging the impact first.
The most challenging, yet absolutely necessary shift in this whole framework is making sure that ownership comes before explanation. Here is how that looks in practice. Step 1, you fully acknowledge the hurt caused. Step 2, you deliberately withhold any defensive explanations or extra context. Step 3, you demonstrate genuine understanding of your partner's pain. You see, offering an explanation too quickly feels incredibly dismissive to the injured partner. It just feels like you're making an excuse. But showing genuine understanding first, without instantly trying to defend yourself, that immediately lowers the tension in the room.
Part 5, healthy pause versus disappearing. Let's talk about managing emotional overwhelm.
Okay, even with these rules firmly in place, your capacity is going to run out, and emotional overload will hit. It happens. But there is a critical difference between taking a protective, agreed-upon timeout and simply abandoning your partner in their grief. A healthy pause means acknowledging the tension, staying present in the relationship, and agreeing to just rest the topic for a bit. Disappearing, on the other hand, means shutting down, storming out of the house, or acting like the issue never even existed.
Remember this, a pause is healthy, but disappearing is not. Saying something like, I really want to hear you right now, but I can feel my defensiveness rising, and I just need to pause for 10 minutes, is super constructive. Staying in the room and communicating that you just need a moment to let the conversation rest is such a powerful, steadying way to build trust. It tells your partner, hey, you are not alone in this.
Finally, Part 6. One honest step, building trust through repeated honest moments.
Moving from total chaos towards steady support is a gradual process. Rebuilding trust after a betrayal doesn't happen with one massive dramatic apology. It just doesn't. It happens through a timeline of repeated, honest, and safe moments. It starts really small. Minute 1, just noticing your own defensiveness. Minute 10, taking a healthy pause instead of lashing out. Day 1, choosing ownership over excuses. By week 1, you actually begin to string together a series of safe interactions. Trust is rebuilt in the consistent daily application of these small, steady moments.
So I want you to take a moment right now to reflect on your own communication loops at home. Ask yourself honestly, are your conversations creating safety, or are they causing even more pain? Are you actively practicing safer talking, or are you still relying on those same old defensive instincts?
Look, the journey toward forward confidence is long. There are absolutely no quick fixes for relationship trauma, but stepping out of that toxic cycle of defensiveness and preventing that devastating second wound begins with a single, genuine effort. Healing starts with one honest step. You really don't have to navigate this cycle alone. If every conversation after betrayal keeps turning into another wound, visit overcomebetrayal.com and book a private readiness call with How to Overcome Betrayal LLC. We can help you build the structure you need for safer talking. The path is difficult for sure, but ask yourself, what happens to your relationship tomorrow if you don't change how you talk today?